What's going on, guys, and welcome back to another episode of the Bridging the Gap podcast. Now, it's a very special weekend. It is Olympia weekend. I thought it'd be fantastic to cover it, and by cover it, I mean give my thoughts on it after it's all happened. Not really go along for it. The thing is with these podcasts, guys, is I want the topics to be meaningful. I want the topics to be real, and I don't think that's going to happen if I do these podcasts every other day, twice a week, once a week. So I'm aiming for every 2 weeks just to get one or two out. And that's just something that I've kind of wanted to do for myself. And the same thing with my YouTube channel is to get 3 or 4 videos out a week, and just loads more content, loads more information, and loads more of what's going on. So let's get into it. Wow. Let's go straight into it. Phil Heath. What the fuck? Phil Heath has just been dethroned by Sean Roden. Sean brought it on. Sean came with it. His midsection was flawless. His front shots were flawless. He beat the champ. He beat Phil Heath in nearly every single front pose. Maybe questionable most muscular, but otherwise very, very close. As they turned to the back, it was lights out from the back by Phil Heath, but it wasn't I could conceive one or two of the judges giving it to Sean just because of the flow, the width that he had, his glutes. I don't think we've seen glutes like that since Ronnie Coleman, and flip me, it was unbelievable to see from the back. His condition was perfect. We've always said, the pundits, the judges, the pros have always said, if Sean Roden brings it and he's on and he's full, he's dry, he's hard, he's not holding water, he's peaked perfectly, he wins. He wins just from aesthetics, and today we saw that. Today I think we saw a shift in bodybuilding. Jeremy Buendia got dethroned. Jeremy fucking Buendia. Oh my god, that guy has had the most unbelievable comeback. Let's step aside away from his arrogance and his general annoyingness, because we do know that he does have that. But oh my god, what he did in 11, 12 weeks after that pec tear was simply unbelievable. Yeah, okay, muscle memory, yeah, drugs, but the work that you need to put in to do that is fucking phenomenal. And to see how he looked, I know that he was super watery on stage, maybe carb too hard, maybe just whatever he did with his drugs wrong, because 2-3 days out, he looked unbelievable. He looked tight, he looked full, he looked dry, he looked his best ever, and he really, really did. If you go back onto his Instagram and check out his latest photos and latest pictures, he looks unbelievable, he looks undeniable. And I think if he had came in those shapes on stage, he would have won, and he would have got his 5th one, and he would have bowed out a champion, 5-time champion. But for whatever reason, that didn't happen. That didn't go down, and it shows the importance of knowing your body, knowing your coach, managing stress. I'm sure stress had to do with it. Imagine coming back after that long. Imagine knowing you've had that pec tear. Imagine knowing that you might not be your best. Even if you think you're your best and you think you look your best, that question is still in your head. And I take my hats off to Buendia, the mental battle that he had to go through to get here, and then the mental battle of getting 4th. I can destroy a man. And I hope it's not the last we'll see of Buendia. I think he'll get destroyed if he goes to the Classic League. He's not got the frame for it. He has a men's physique frame through and through. Slightly bigger than men's physique, I would say, but if he pulled it back down a little bit, he would be phenomenal, as he was for 4 years. But it just shows the importance of a peak. Brandon Hendrickson looked absolutely phenomenal. I really liked his physique this year. I never really liked his physique before. Brandon Flex, I've never been a fan of his body. He came 5th. And then Raymond, the big tall guy, Raymond. I mean, doing it for the tall guys, I love his physique, but he's never going to win. He hasn't got that fullness up top. He can't get that fullness up top that these shorter guys have. And then 3rd, Ryan Terry. Ryan Terry, I feel like now that Jeremy Buendia has been taking off the top, I feel like this opens the window to the smaller physique. And I think because he was number 1 4 years in a row from the very, very start of men's physique, so the very first men's physique that they ever had, Jeremy Buendia won, and he's won every single one until this year. And I think they just, because he was the standard, he kept getting bigger, Everyone else kept getting bigger, but not as big as him. And I think it was pretty difficult to knock him off the top shot as soon as he came in lean, dry, hard, and you see them side by side. He did look unbelievable. And I think now that they've managed to I wouldn't say that they've managed to whittle him off the top spot, but now that he's dropped from that top spot, it really opens the door to a smaller men's physique, which is great. Which is great for me, trying to be a men's physique pro. It's great for Ryan Terry, who's just got that smaller frame. I don't know whether he just doesn't push the drugs as hard, or he doesn't really change that much year to year. Like for me, he looks pretty similar. The only thing that's different might be his like condition. Like maybe he was less conditioned last year, he was more conditioned into this year, but he's never much bigger. He's pretty much that size the whole time. But fantastic that he got third place. Amazing for Ryan Terry. The best midsection ever. His posing's a bit dead, not gonna lie. His posing's not as good as those top guys, but if he did that, I'm sure he could get a little bit further up, to second or even first, maybe one day, now that the door's open. Which is awesome. Classic, let's do it. Brion, too good from the back. Just his conditioning was just the best. He had the best conditioning in the classic league. There might have been one or two other guys, but they didn't have the genetics. But he had the best conditioning on the day. Sebum was way off. I feel like he went keto. He went keto like 4 weeks out, I assume, because he wasn't getting lean enough and he wasn't going to be lean enough. And I feel like him and his coach probably shit themselves and thought, we need to do something here. But if you go keto for 4 weeks, 3 weeks, and then you want to try load carbohydrates, you don't know how your body's going to react. You might need to load more fats, less water, all this kind of stuff. You know, it's very, very complicated at the higher levels in terms of macronutrients, and let alone adding in drugs, salt, water. So something definitely went wrong there, but he definitely took second for me. Just from genetics, he looks fucking awesome. He needs more in the back. He's got bodybuilder. For me, he's got bodybuilder legs. Like from the back, he's got very bodybuilder legs. He's got very bodybuilder poses from the back, but obviously from the front, he's just uber classic. But to compete with the top, he needs way more thickness up top. He needs more thickness in the back, maybe a little bit more in the glutes, but that will come with condition. But I genuinely believe like that top, I think he only lost by 1 point actually, and considering he's not in shape, that must fucking kill him, because he knows that if he was in shape, that he would have not Brion off that top spot. 2-on-2. Actually no, let's just go to third place. George, I think his name's George the Third. Actually, he looked very good, very, very conditioned, a bit more bodybuilder-esque. But I think those top two, Brion and Sebum, are just way ahead of everyone. I think they're way ahead of everyone in terms of genetics, size, fullness, density, all that kind of stuff. But yeah, Brion, well deserved. I personally prefer. Like, he can't vacuum, so I don't think he should be first. But personally, I prefer Sebum. But on the day, if I was a judge, I'd give it to Brion as well, just because of the lack of conditioning, maybe a little bit of water that Chris was holding. He didn't pop like last year. He killed it last year, but he didn't do that this year. So next year, maybe it'll be Sebum's world. The 2-1-2. I only need to mention one person, Flex Lewis. Fuck me, that was probably his best Olympia look. Oh my God, to do that after 7 years. You know, the industry has begged to get that 2013, 14, 15 Phil Heath back, because that was the best version that we ever saw of him, and we've just not seen it. Like, he's been unable to bring that best package ever. Phil Heath has not been his best for 4 or 5 years, and that is a testament to how good he really is, because he's still been spanking everyone. He's been spanking everyone, literally spanking everyone, until this year where he lost and got dethroned. So hats off and testament to Flex Lewis to come in his best shape ever. He's still fairly young, and he's got time, and I've heard he might be going into the Open. I hope to God he's going into the Open. It'd be amazing to see him. He is awesome all round, and he never comes out of shape. And he would be right up in that top 5 or 6 straight away. And it'd be unbelievable to see him without a weight restriction of 2-1-2, which I know that he digs hard to get into. You see it every year, sunken cheeks. He has to pull off muscle. His body just wants to grow. So now we finally can grow. So it's a very transcending Olympia. Phil Heath's got marked down. He had to bring it for the night show. He had a bit of water. He didn't bring it. and I think it shows that the judging has been sorted out, the politics has been sorted out, and I think honestly this was probably one of the best Olympias I've ever seen in terms of judging, and hats off to everyone who runs it, IFBB. I know they've had problems over the years. I know they've had restructures. I know that they've been trying to get this judging sorted, and to be honest, I'll take it. Like, I think it was pretty well judged. I don't even need to mention third place in the Open, or anyone else. No one else is close to these top guys that we're talking about here. I think it's a testament to them. But I don't know. I'd love to know your guys' thoughts. I literally just wanted to talk about it. I know this is a hot topic right now. Drop me a DM, comment on my posts. I've been putting up some posts about the Olympia as we go, and it's been great. Like, I've been glued to my laptop watching it. I will actually add this on iherb.com/Olympia. Fuck yourselves. It was the worst coverage of Olympia. If you want this sport to grow, get someone. You could even just get one of the influencers to do it, because they're more than happy to do it. I know that Nick's Strength and Power, whatever his YouTube name is, he said that he would go there himself, set up all of his cameras and stream it himself for his channel. Like, these people would do it for free, and yet they're just giving in to the person who's paying the most. iherb.com. I went on there and it is the worst website you've ever seen. I wouldn't buy anything off it, and I can't believe that anyone did buy anything off it because of the Olympia. So I hope to God they sort it out one year, because this sport will not grow otherwise. You will not get the attention that it deserves, and these people who are sacrificing their lives will not get the rewards that they deserve. So iHerb, if you listen to this, which you definitely not, go fuck yourselves. Let's get a petition on to get someone to do it properly. I think that's pretty much everything I need to say about Olympia, other than I think this is fantastic. Like, Sean Roden has always had the physique over Phil. He's just never brought the condition and the fullness and the density that he has now. So I think this is an amazing direction that bodybuilding has taken in terms of aesthetics, moving away from that big bubble gut bonanza. And the same for men's physique. Like, that's my jam, guys. The men's physique is my jam. Like, that's the one that I looked up to always. And it makes it really actually sets a fire in my stomach. And I just said to one of my friends on the phone earlier, and I'm going to say it here first, guys. If I feel like if I take the drugs that these guys do, and I have my work ethic that I feel like I could win an Olympia if Brandon Hendrickson's going to win. And now that might sound very, very arrogant, and that might sound very premature, because I've still got years and years to build, even if I start taking drugs, start taking steroids. But I'm being serious, guys. I'm being very, very serious when I say this. This really set a fire in my stomach, thinking I could do this, because I know Ryan Terry's got the best midsection in the world, but I'm not joking. Like, I feel like I match him up top now. Like, I literally feel like I match him up top now, and I'm natural. And I know that he's probably not, you know. And if he is, then fucking fair play. But I seriously doubt that he is, you know. And I know he's got the midsection and all, but you know, that's something we can work on. And this might sound super unrealistic right now that I'm saying this stuff to you, because I'm not even probably going to compete in that kind of thing next year. But it really puts that thing in my head, and I just wanted to say that. The next thing I wanted to talk about, guys, is Elon Musk. Now, Elon Musk went on the Joe Rogan podcast. I'm sure most people listening to this have probably heard about it. They've seen the memes of him smoking that blunt, and they've just heard about it all. And that podcast has got like 14 million views, 15 million views now, which is unbelievable. But what really pissed me off is how he got so much shit for doing that, for smoking that blunt. So much shit for just like, he didn't even inhale it, for one. Like, real weed smokers out there, real smokers in general, know how you toke. Like, you breathe it into your lungs afterwards. You don't breathe it into your mouth and blow it out. So he didn't even toke it. He didn't even get high. He said he didn't feel it. And then his stocks dropped like 4%. Bearing in mind, this is Tesla, which is hundreds of millions when that happens. I thought it was very, very ridiculous. And even more ridiculously, we got an insight into one of the greatest minds that has ever walked this earth. We got an insight into someone whose brain does not switch off. We got an insight into someone whose brain is unique and can solve world problems like that in his sleep, because that's what he thinks about the entire time. And it was quite damning actually watching him talk about himself and talk about how his mind works. He looked quite scared and frightened, to be honest, when I saw it, and he looked quite afraid for anyone to think that they wanted to be Elon. He goes, I don't think anyone wants to be Elon. If you guys understood what goes on in my head 24/7. He said that his brain never switches off. It's like a constant explosion happening 24/7. That's fucking scary, guys. Can you imagine not being able to switch off? Can you imagine just going 100 miles per hour the entire time? You would be tired. And he looked tired. It was very, very scary to see this guy's like hollow eyes talk about his brain and how it works. But on the other hand, I also think it was amazing that he understood that he had this gift, and he understood that he needed to give back. And the message that he did bring, as weird as it was to hear, because he talks like a robot and he sounds like a bit like a robot, the message was fucking beautiful. And I hate that the whole message and his beautiful mind and his unbelievable intellect got stripped away because he smoked a blunt. Fuck off, you twats. If you're one of those people who's like, oh my God, Elon smoked this, smoked that. No, listen to the podcast. Listen to the topics that he talked about. Listen to the beauty in his fucking voice when he's talking about solving these world problems and helping billions of people and helping the future, our grandchildren, our great-grandchildren. It's unbelievable. And when he talks about fossil fuels and he gets emotional about it, you don't think people like that can get emotional. It's just, it was quite touching to see someone so much higher in brain power than us feel the same things that we feel, you know, like it's real. We're all the same. We are all human. We are all together. We should always be in each other's minds, and the combination of being selfish and selfless has to be balanced, and all of that becomes part of the same thing. God, that was a little bit of a rant about Elon Musk. And like a little bit on like selflessness and selfishness. I think this is how we need to balance our lives. Like, I think the entirety of our lives needs to be a balance of selflessness and selfishness. Why? Because you need to be selfish. It is your life. You have one life. You will die. You will cease to exist on this planet. Do not go through this life being told you can't do this, you can't do that, unless it's crazy shit like you can't murder people. Okay, of course you can't murder people. But don't let people say you can't go for that job role, that fucking thing here and that fucking thing here. And even if it's going to affect some people, and it might affect people very, very close to you. For example, it might affect your parents, because your parents might have an old school mindset. Your parents might have a completely different mindset. They grew up in a different time, a different world, that they don't understand what kind of life they're in now in terms of social media, technology, all these different jobs. Don't be afraid who you're going to upset, you know, because the real ones will come back to you. The real ones will accept you. As long as you're not doing anything morally wrong, the real ones will accept you. So balancing that selfishness for your life has to be balanced with that selflessness for their lives. And selflessness for me is just about being there for someone, understanding other people's, like being empathetic with other people. Like empathy is the key to selflessness. As long as you are empathetic and you understand, or you can try and understand the situation that people are in, you can be as selfish as you want. Like, as long as that selfishness is not it's not grating on someone else's life and not bringing someone else's life down, do what the fuck you want, you know. And I think that's what Elon is really standing for. He's like, I'm doing what I need to do. I'm sacrificing relationships. I'm sacrificing I can't even imagine how much he's sacrificing to be where he is and do what he's doing. You know, he doesn't do anything else but work and try to help people. So I think I don't know, that was just something that came up into my head when I was listening to that, and I was like, fuck me, this guy has to be very, very selfish to do what he wants, but he's very, very selfish in being selfless. You know, it's crazy. Like, his entire life, I imagine he's probably got no relationship with his, I don't know if he's got brothers or sisters or his parents or his friends. I bet he's got very little friends. It's very, very selfish, like, life that he's leading, because it's all about him, his Tesla, his company's this, his world change. But then actually in what he's doing is very, very selfless. And it's quite crazy because I try to apply that to myself, and I feel like what I do is very, very selfish. Like I bodybuild, and one thing my girlfriend is an absolute saint with is my bodybuilding. And when it comes to like the last piece of food in the fridge, like I get it because it's bodybuilding, you know. That is crazy. That is crazy. And you might think that's proper weird. It is quite weird. But that's just what it is. Like my journey is selfish in what I'm doing, but the goal is selfless. I'm trying to gain as much attention, as much eyes as I can to try and help people, and as many ears as I can that I can touch with maybe what I'm saying, and I can help them in bad places, and I can help them get out of bad places, and you know, and maybe that's not for me to proclaim that I can do, but that is in fact an indirect thing of what happens in what I'm doing. You know, I put out this information, I put out what I'm doing to improve myself and my mentality, just about me. I'm really just describing what I'm doing, and in turn that helps people, and that's a beautiful thing, and I'm thankful to be in this position, and I just want this position to grow, and I want this position to get stronger over time, and I want my help to get stronger over time, and my empathy and my selflessness to get more over time alongside my selfishness. I hope that makes sense. They're obviously very contrasting things, but I hope I explained it well enough for you guys to understand how I just want to balance selfishness and selflessness, because this is my life. I want to enjoy it. I want to have a good fucking ride, because there's only one ride. Like I want to enjoy that ride, but I want everyone else's ride to be fucking good as well. So that's a big thing that I took from Elon's thing, is like he's enjoying his ride because he has to, like he's doing his thing, he's doing the craziest things you could possibly conceive, but the big picture's there for selflessness reasons, and that's beautiful to see. I've got two more things that I want to just go over before this podcast ends. The first thing is about me and what I'm doing next year. And the next one, and the final one, will be story time, because the last story time went down well. I don't know how well this one will go down, because last story was fucking crazy. If you haven't heard it, head back to the last podcast and you can hear how I got attacked by Aston Villa with my dad at a football game. I was 14. It was mental. I wanted to talk a bit about next year, and I have no idea what I'm doing. I feel like my direction has been lost. This is taking a very turn for the worse now. My direction has been lost. I don't know what competitions to do, and not knowing what competitions to do. Like last year, I knew what competition I was doing. I knew I was doing UK BFF, and I knew I wanted to win the finals. I knew I wanted to get a pro card, an IFBB pro card. Now the IFBB pro card is almost unreachable naturally, because they have changed the criteria to be you have to be a pro standard to get a pro card, which I completely agree with. However, it was different last year. You had to be smaller, and then you could get bigger, which probably put me in a better position because I'm natural. And I can't get to the size that these guys are getting without drugs. So it had me in a better position, and they've kind of changed that for the right. I completely agree. But it kind of puts me in a pickle because I wanted to be IFBB pro naturally. Now I don't know if it's possible, but I'm not willing to take the drugs this year. I want to compete one more year naturally, and then maybe introduce the drugs. So I'm a bit at loss as what I want to do. I wanted to do classic, but I'm not going to be big enough for the unnatural classic because they don't have natural classic. I don't really like bodybuilding that much. Like, I love bodybuilding, the sport. I don't really like the big bodybuilding poses. I don't want to be as big as possible, as dry, grainy. Like, I don't mind being dry and grainy and all that kind of stuff, but my goal isn't to be a big bodybuilder. That has never been the goal. I've always wanted to be flow, aesthetics, which I think men's physique brought. I could do natural physique again. I could do natural physique for the first time. So that's in my head. I'd love it if they did natural classic. They don't. So I'm tempted to do bodybuilding, but just pose classically. Natural bodybuilding, but just pose classically. Depending how big I get, I wanted to try the IFBB Pro qualifier, which is the Two Bros Pro. But I don't think I'll be big enough, but it'd be interesting just to see where I stack up. And yeah, like that's just, I don't really know. And it's something I need to work out because I'm obviously training the same just to win whatever I'm doing. I'm training as hard as I can. I'm recovering as hard as I can. But I think if I just knew what I was doing, it might help, even 1%, even 2%, whatever it is. I think it might help. So I need to really I'm really struggling, and I just wanted to be real with you guys. I wanted you guys to have a step inside my mind and just know that I'm struggling as well. Like, I really don't know what I'm doing. I know there's bigger problems in the world, by the way, before you comment. This is just my problem right now. I don't know what to do. And I need direction, and I'm struggling. So if you guys have any help or any idea, drop me an email, drop me a message, and I'll have a little look-see. Finally, guys, I want to tell you about the time that me and my friend Shabab had this is possibly the scariest moment of my life. I'm not sure whether I should be saying this on a podcast, but here it goes. So those of you who follow me probably know I like to partake in cannabis, the consumption of cannabis, the smoking, the whatever you want to call it. So we naturally went on a trip to Amsterdam, me and him. I broke down my car. I crashed my car like 3 days before we were supposed to go. Everything was booked. Like, we were supposed to drive there. That's why, by the way, we were supposed to drive there. I crashed my car. I was livid, but I still really wanted to go. So what happened? My friend Deshti, he lent me his car. I got insured on his car for like 2.5 days. The 2.5 days that we were there, went to Amsterdam, had a great time. Obviously, when you go to Amsterdam, you want to bring something back. So what did we do? We brought a load back, probably like a couple £100 worth. We're thinking, where should we put it? Oh, we'll just leave it in the bags. That way, if we do get caught at the border, we can just be like, oh, we just forgot it was in there. No, we didn't do that. We cracked a fucking side panel on the door and put it in there and thought we were really clever and really smart, because they're probably not going to check us anyway, because no one checked us on the way out. That was the weekend of the Paris attacks. Obviously, we were driving back to France and went to Calais, and every single car got stopped and dog searched and sniffer searched. This was possibly the scariest moment of my life when I pulled up to this big hangar and we got told, can you just pull to the right, please? We're going to search your car. We were third in line. I remember it. And we had to wait about 15, 20 minutes to get our car searched. And me and him were probably silent for 10 of those minutes, shitting ourselves. I could hear his heartbeat. He could hear mine. And we looked at each other, and I said, I can't open this door. I can't crack the panel and just throw it on the floor. Like, if I open the door, they're going to see me. I can't leave the car. Like, what am I going to do? And we just looked at each other, and we said, this is it. We can't do anything. We got called up next. He looked at me. I looked at him. We fist bumped each other. We literally fist bumped each other and said, this is it. We're going to be drug smugglers, like, because we're not leaving it in our bag and forgetting, you know, like, if you leave it in your bag and you forget, okay, there might be a little bit of leeway. It's only a little bit of weed. They're probably going to be fine. But we had 20 grams plus stashed in the panel of the car. Like, we were international drug smugglers at this point. So we get pulled in. Guy says, pull up, turn your engine off, step out the car. Passenger, you can stay there. He goes, have you got anything in your car? Have you got any money, drugs, weapons? I'm kind of glad that he said drugs second, so I could kind of just say no, because I could kind of convince myself I was saying no to weapons. If he had said it drugs and looked me in the eyes, I would have been like, yes. Thank God he didn't do that. So I just sit down, calm. I'm not calm. My heart is going 100,000 miles per hour, but, you know, I'm sweating my palms off. But I'm not letting them see that. This boisterous motherfucking dog comes round. Okay, I want to visualize where this is. This is in the front right panel, so right by the front right tire. He starts at the front left and goes around the back. So the last place he would search would be the front right. So he goes to the left tire, goes to the back left tire. He tells me to open the boot. And as I'm walking over to the boot, I'm thinking, fuck, I've got my grinder in there. And that's going to stink a weed. Like, I'm about to get caught right now, and they're going to search the whole car. I open the boot. The dog jumps in the boot, sniffs around, jumps out the boot. I close the boot. This was where the first slimmer of hope came in. And my God, it was a good feeling. I felt a crisp, cool air go down my back and thinking, I might get away with this right now. Dog goes round to the back right tire. Nothing. Dog's coming up to the front right tire. I'm seizing up. I'm squeezing my toes. I'm squeezing my hands together. I'm thinking, this is it. This is it. He goes to the front tire, goes away, then comes back to the front tire, and I think this is it. It's fucked. We're done. He then goes away again, and the guy who's got the dog on the lead flicks his fingers next to the tire and says, no, sniff again. The dog sniffs again, and I'm like, this is it. Shabab's looking at me, I'm like, this is it. And the dog walks away, and he says, thank you, sir, get in your car, you can walk away now. Oh my God. I got back in the car, I drove off, and we did not look at each other. We did not look in the rearview mirror. We did not say anything for at least 5 minutes, 6 minutes. If any of you guys have been to Calais, there's a McDonald's on the other side. I pulled over there. I looked at him. He looked at me, and the smile that you can hear on my face right now is exactly what I gave him. And we start screaming and going, yes! Fucking come on! Oh my God, that was the scariest moment of my life, I think. And to be in it with him and to get out of it with him was fucking crazy. So probably shouldn't have said that on podcast, but whatever. You're going to live once and all. I hope you guys enjoyed that story. I did not enjoy being in it. I hope you guys enjoyed this podcast all round. Thank you guys for tuning in. I love you lots. More coming. Peace and love. See you soon. Bye-bye.